What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over how you can win every gulag. Everyone has been complaining that this new Nuketown Gulag is incredibly one-sided, but as long as you play correctly, you can still win a majority of your fights from the bad side. If you guys do find this video helpful or informative, please do remember to give it a like and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. The most important thing that you need to keep in mind when it comes to this Nuketown Gulag is that positioning is incredibly important. It's very set cover pieces, and I think there's a very set way in which you should play. With the Showers Gulag in the past, there wasn't as much cover, and I feel like it wasn't like as strategic or tactical. There wasn't like set things you should do. Most people just bunny hopped either left or right and took the gunfight. And because that previous Gulag was much deeper, you had a lot more players like camping in the back and just being weird potentially. There was a lot more like question marks of what the enemy player is going to be doing. This Gulag is much more simple. There's very few pieces of cover, but they're very important. And as long as you play to those, depending on which side you spawn on, you're going to win a majority of your fights. So there's two sides to this Gulag. There's the sign side. This is you spawn near the Nuketown sign. This is the good side because there's this car head glitch here that is incredibly overpowered. This is the side you want to spawn on, and this is the side that a lot of people has been saying is overpowered. The other side, we're just going to call bad side for the purpose of this video, but I don't think this side is as disadvantaged as a lot of people make it out to be, and we're going to be going over how you should play and how you can win from both sides. Since the sign side is the easier side, we're going to start with bad side. This is the side that most people are going to be concerned about most, and you basically have two options. You can push to the right side of the bus and just try to get as close to the car head glitch as possible and try to like cut them off from getting to it. Or you can push the left side and try to prevent them from getting to it that way. I think it's best to push the left side and bunny hop to this little half wall and watch the cross from the sign to the car. There's a little gap, and you can usually bunny hop to this little half wall before they even get past the sign, and you can prevent them to getting to the car. If you have incredibly good aim, you're just going to cut them off before they even get to the car, and they're dead. Even if you don't have the best aim, you're going to hit a few shots on them most likely and at least get them weak to the point where you can maybe win the gunfight once they're at the head glitch. The car is a better piece of cover, but it's not like the half wall is irrelevant. You're still pretty covered, and if you're ahead on damage, as you usually should be, you're going to win the fight. I think it was purposely set up in a way to where the sign is the better side in terms of having better cover, but the other side, you can get to your cover faster. I have never had anyone get to the car before I get to this half wall. They've never even crossed the sign before I get to this half wall. I always just tack sprint and bunny hop to the half wall, and I'm always there ahead of time, and we're always able to cut them off. When you're spawning on the good side, on the sign side, you just want to bunny hop to the car. You want to get to that car as fast as possible and just try to cut them off, or just try to like pre-aim the half wall or their spawn. Some people don't go for the half wall right away and they just kind of stay in their spawn. And if that happens and you're on the car and they're in their spawn, there's pretty much no way you can lose that. It's very, very easy to win once you have car. Like, that's basically what you got to think of it as. If you're on good side, you want to get to the car. If you're on bad side, you got to try to stop your opponent from getting to the car. That car head glitch is the central point and the most important thing to play for in this Gulag. That's why I was saying it's more strategic and more tactical, because there's actual things to play for and plays and counterplays to be made. I feel like the Showers Gulag, people just took 50-50 gunfights all the time or stayed in their base. That was pretty much the only way people played it. Interestingly enough, both of these pieces of cover overlook the flag, but from bad side, I feel like, or from that bad side half wall, I feel like you have a better chance or an easier opportunity to get to the neutral capture flag. The person from the car has to make much more of an effort to get to that and cross an area with less cover than the person from the bad side half wall does. Like, if you're at that wall, you could just slide to the flag. So if you're in a situation where you're playing the wall and you were unable to kill them and they make it to the car, you end up in a situation where you have to capture that flag. I feel like it's pretty easy for the bad side person to like wait as long as possible to slide onto that neutral flag and really bait it out versus the car side person, because the person on the good side car, that good head glitch, are in much more of a position where they are forced by the time to make a play sooner because that wall is so close to it, if that makes any sense. Like, if you're on the half wall, you really only need like a quarter of a second to get to that flag or something like that. Whereas the person, if they're playing deep on the back of the car, they have to like actually slide or run for a decent amount of time prior to getting to that flag. So it's kind of interesting the way this Gulag plays out. Good side has that cover advantage, but they can't get there as fast as the person on bad side, and they also have a harder time getting to the neutral flag. So while this Gulag is imbalanced in a way, I actually think it is somewhat balanced, even though it's imbalanced, because both sides have their advantages and disadvantages, and it just comes down to how you play it and how deep into the match you go before like other sides' advantages show. I feel like even on bad side, like I said previously, I can stop the person from getting to the car a majority of the time, so I really don't view it as that much of a disadvantage, even though I do think whoever has more kills coming into the Gulag should get side selection or something like that. I'm fine with this Gulag being in balance, and I'm fine playing around the disadvantages that either side presents, but I feel like if you've done more throughout the course of the BR, if you have more kills than the person, then you should get side selection, and that would make it a little bit more fair, because as it is now, it's just pretty random. So that's basically the strategy you want to employ for this Gulag. I'm going to go over some basic Gulag tips at the moment. One thing that is super important that I feel like a lot of people neglect is how important sound is. This is a 1v1 fight, and all of the people that are spectating, they're walking on metal, so their footsteps are pretty easy to distinguish from your opponent. Sound is very important, because let's say you're on the bad side half wall holding it, and the guy isn't peeking for whatever reason, and he's actually flanking you. If you have your headset on and you have your audio turned up, you'll probably hear him flanking you. But if you aren't paying attention to audio at all, he might flank you and then kill you. So I definitely think you should play around audio at all times in Warzone. The audio is actually quite good. I don't know why a lot of people hate on it. I am able to get a lot from the audio in this game. It adds a lot to my awareness, and the Gulag is an even more extreme version of that, because the fight is very simplified, the map is very simplified, and it's just a 1v1. Another thing you need to remember with this Gulag, or just a Gulag in general, is to remember to use your equipment, but not rely on it. Most of the strategy I outlined is going to win you the fight before the equipment is even available. If you bunny hop to the half wall and catch them before they get to the car, you're going to kill them. If you get to the car and they're like playing in their spawn or something like that, you're going to kill them. It's very easy to end this Gulag match quick. But if it does go long, remember you have your equipment. One thing you want to avoid, in my opinion, is just waiting in your spawn until you get your equipment available. That's something that could maybe work in the showers Gulag, but in this Gulag, your spawn isn't as deep and your spawn isn't as protected, so you can't just neglect the early half of the Gulag because you want your equipment. Make sure you use it when it's necessary, but don't rely solely on that to get your wins in the Gulag, because I feel like in this Nuketown Gulag, that's really going to set you back, losing out on that time. You want to get to whatever your piece of cover is as fast as possible in this Nuketown Gulag. Another thing I want to talk about is how important the peeker's advantage is. This is something that I feel like a lot of people know, but there's still people in the community who don't know how real the peeker's advantage is in Warzone. Because of the way latency works, and because of the way Warzone's movement works with slide canceling and bunny hopping, the person making a play and the person peeking into the other player has a pretty distinct advantage. If you jump around a corner, you can gun someone before you're even on their screen if you hit all your shots, because of how latency works. So let's go back to that example we talked about before. If you're on bad side playing the half wall and someone's flanking you, you hear them coming around their side of the bus, you're better off tack sprinting and jumping around the bus and just challenging that, rather than just like waiting for them to get around the corner. You want to take advantage of the peeker's advantage and your bunny hopping and your slide canceling as frequently as possible in Warzone, and that applies to the Gulag as well. These cover pieces are good, and you can play them for your mid-range fights, but if someone's coming up on you, you want to try to like re-challenge the corner as they're challenging it. I'll try to have gameplay of that at this point, but you want to do that to make sure that you have the peeker's advantage on your side, rather than just waiting and giving your opponent the peeker's advantage. Just wanted to touch on that because, like I said, there's still a decent amount of people who don't know about the peeker's advantage for whatever reason, and that's going to cover most of what you need for this Gulag. It's very simple, just like the Gulag was in the past, but I actually like this Showers one, or I like this Nuketown one a lot more than the Showers Gulag, because of that strategy and tactics that I talked about before, where there's a set right and wrong way to play this Gulag, I feel like, whereas before you were just challenging a 50-50 gunfight, and you may or may not win it. Your opponent may or may not even be taking the fight. They might just be camping in their base for who knows how long. I feel like this new Gulag really encourages proactive play and you making the play to get on your cover pieces as fast as you can. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know in the comments below which Gulag you prefer between this Nuketown Gulag or the Showers Gulag. Also, let me know if this video helped you out. If it did, remember to give it a like and subscribe if you would like to see more. Thanks for watching.
Fucking new safe zone.
This is sketchy.
I got the wheel.
This in?
Reposition.
There's somebody. Where'd he go?
We've got gas moving in.
Train, be quiet, bro. I'm trying to sound whore. 2 guys remaining. They're fighting. Fight's over. Sounded like he was over there. GG's. What is that? 17? First game on? Let's get it. Those was a horrible start, too. Horrible. Like, I got 1 kill in, like, the first 5 minutes of the game.